Yeah. Yeah, that's another reason why I like this, because we're lifting the hip. We're getting some nice kind of passive stretching through the front of the hips, but also all of that movement in the lumbar. So again, what I've got going on is my lower leg is holding and pulling his knee towards me. So I'm doing this kind of motion, this. So my top foot is pushing in, my bottom leg is pulling. And I'm just holding, because this is what I feel. Feels good. And then again, just soften it back up and come in and move them around. How'd that feel? So find that TFL, press in. Again, I like to use broad to sharp. So we're gonna use the broad, nice flat part of my foot first. And then what I can do sometimes is come in, use the knife or the side of my foot, press in a little bit more. How does that feel?
A little sharper, but still.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a little bit sharper. I want a little bit more, I can use my heel. How does that feel? Yeah, it is like a mean elbow, but the cool thing is I got my hands. My hands aren't hurting, just hanging out. So, and I find doing this work starting out helps loosen up the hips. So when we go to do more of this hip or leg mobilization or any of your stretches that you love to do, a lot of times when you do those crossover stretches, your client or your receiver will get pain right here in their hip flexors. It hurts. So starting this way, I like to soften up. How does that feel?
The other part is I'm just a glutton. You can work on my toes. I'm like, oh,
That
yes.
is true.
Work on my feet. Oh, yes. Oh, you work on my pain stuff? Oh, yes. Touch me.
Robert is a wonderful receiver because I can go as hard as I like or as he likes, whereas I am a giant pressure sissy and he has to be very gentle and treat me like China, like fine China, not the country. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the heel because Robert can handle that amount of pressure, and I'm just pressing in and slightly down. And again, that's going to be a little bit more on vastus lateralis and a little bit of a rectus femoris where it attaches. So we'll put this up there. I say rectus femoris.
Femoris sounds like a dog.
Femoris does sound like a dog.
It's like a dog in head.
Ooh, he's going to get you.
I like that. No, dog that.
Oh, we should.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I have to say the rectus femoris is kind of a jerk, and I could see dogs being kind of a jerk.
Exactly.
So the one, oh, does that feel good?
No, you just
start naming
it was like
animals after
you
muscles.
hooked it up high and then just like sheared over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm doing here is I've got my heel hooked in to vastus lateralis, shearing towards rectus femoris, and that's where Robert said, he said, ooh, because he felt that. Again, that's those hip flexors. They have a tendency to be really, really tight. We're just hanging out. Got my leg here to support his knee so he doesn't, you know, feel unsupported and have to worry about it, and he can just relax into what I'm doing. I've got my hands back here. In my practice, I usually have a big bolster I like to kind of lay on because I'm spoiled and I have a lot of different pillows. But very versatile to what you want to do. So I'm going to come out really slowly because this area is super tender and tendinous. We want to be gentle. How is that? Good. And then I like to come back in. Just that broad pressure and moving stuff around. Work my way down the leg. I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to press in. Again, a little bit broader, but with more pressure. And now, because the leg has rolled a little bit, here's his knee. Now we're working a little bit more on the top again, and that's going to be that rectus femoris or femoris, the hell dog. And then a little bit of vastus lateralis as well. How does that feel? And so I've got them held, and I'm going down or at this direction angle and slightly up because that's what feels good for my hips. That's where I'm feeling some tension. And this is just where I feel he needs. But you can go all the way around. The biggest thing when you're working on these muscles is to go very slowly. Quads in general are usually very tight on nearly everyone. And that's because we sit, we walk, we move around, we use our legs a lot, surprisingly.